Hi, I'm Natalie Bouchard, and you're listening to Inside NC Labor, a podcast designed to inform and educate North Carolina citizens on the role that the Department of Labor plays in state government.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. I'm Dolores Questenberry and from the Communications Office, and today we have a special guest. We have Kevin Beauregard with the Occupational Safety and Health Division, and I'm going to let Kevin kick this off and tell us what he does with the department and his role with the agency.
Well, hi Dolores. It's great to be here today.
We're so glad to have you.
I've been listening to some of the podcasts earlier, and I've got to say that I do like them. It's a good way to get information out, I think. Yeah. I am currently the OSH director, so I oversee the OSHA program here in the state of North Carolina. We have one of the largest programs in the country, and we're pretty proud of it. We do a lot of different activities, and our primary goal is to do the best we can do to try to reduce injuries and illnesses throughout the state. And so we have all different sections working together. We have a consultative section, we have a compliance section, we have an education and training and outreach section, and then we also work with the communication section to try to get some of that outreach out as well. So what we're here today to talk about, I think, is a little bit about our Safe and Sound campaign that we have. OSHA has had a Safe and Sound campaign for a number of years now, and North Carolina participates in that program. And the primary focus of the program is to encourage all employers in the country, and in North Carolina in particular, to have safety and health programs that are effective and that include employee participation, so they can be part of that to hopefully drive down the injury and illness rates.
Right. It's so important. Mm-hmm. So share the news about the proclamation that was issued.
We requested that Governor Cooper make a proclamation that August 12th through 18th is Safe and Sound Week, which he did. We're very happy for that. The primary purpose of the Safe and Sound Week is to recognize those employers that have effective safety and health programs, and we ask those employers to participate during Safe and Sound Week through various activities, whether it be training that they're hosting on their site. They may have a picnic to promote safety and health with their staff. They may participate in webinars that we're putting on. They may group up with other employers to have safety and health events. But it's all about recognition of what they've done, recognition of their successes, and hopefully going forward doing their best to reduce safety and health injuries and illnesses.
We're also asking these companies to register through the USDOL website. There's 51 as of this morning, but we want to see that number go up.
For North Carolina.
Thank
51
you.
for North Carolina.
Thank you for North Carolina. So Natalie, can you tell them how they can do that?
Yeah, so if you go to the OSHA website, or you could just Google Safe and Sound, and it'll come up with the campaign page. And then there's tons of resources on there, a lot that we've been utilizing for our social media to spread the word. Tons of resources, information, webinars, as you mentioned, infographics, links, and a lot of the sponsoring organizations have put a lot of information up on that website too. So you can go and register. If you scroll down, you'll see a map, and that's where we got that number 51 from, for North Carolina, 51 organizations that have registered for Safe and Sound this year.
That's awesome.
Very great.
Now, and then we have a hashtag too. We're asking any employers that are doing an event to maybe take a photo or to tag us. Tell them what they can do.
Yes, so it's hashtag Safe and Sound at work, and then the other hashtag we've been using is hashtag Safe and Sound 2019. So those will help connect different organizations that are all participating. You can click on that hashtag on social media and kind of see an array of different ways that people are participating.
And get ideas from those too.
Absolutely.
You can get ideas and use other people's ideas to come up with something for your organization.
I think an ice cream party would be an outstanding party.
Especially right now.
Particularly if they invite me to it.
Agree. Absolutely.
I'll put my flavors online, so anybody that's interested, just give us a call. I am excited to see North Carolina as a heavy participant. If you go up on the website right now, they'll give you a real-time update of how many people have registered. And I think North Carolina is probably third on that list behind some pretty large states.
Right.
Last year they had over 2,700 nationally participate in the program, and we're hoping to have more this year. I think so far the registrations are about 16 to 1,700. And so I think we're on pace if we get more people into the program. But the whole primary purpose behind the whole thing is to put more focus on safety and health. Sometimes with all the competing things that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, it's easy to forget paying attention to safety and health. People get other things on their mind, particularly in the summer months. And we have seen an uptick in fatalities that we're a little bit concerned with, although we have a great injury and illness rate in North Carolina. Anytime we see any type of injuries or fatalities occurring, we want to make sure we focus on
I think that's why the conversation is so important, because people, we mentioned this in our statewide news release that we issued this morning. It's easy to become complacent. And, our injury and illness rate is at an all-time low for the state of North Carolina at 2.3 per 100 full-time workers. But we want to continue the conversation so that number will continue to trend down. One thing I've learned since I've been at the department is employers can actually save money by investing in safety and health. And I know you could probably add to that.
It's interesting you bring that up. Just last week I was talking to some people about a white paper that was published by OSHA in 2018, and it is available if you go out there online. You can look at it, but it was talking about the value of consultative services. And they looked at 3 different models to see, based on those models, employers that participated in a consultative service program, what type of savings they may have. And I think even the people that were doing a study were surprised at the large dollars. It was in the hundreds of millions of dollar range. We were interested in looking at that on a North Carolina level, and so we actually did. I asked our consultative bureau chief to look on North Carolina to see if we applied the same factors in North Carolina, what type of cost savings there would be. And we were pleasantly surprised. We found with the 3 models anywhere between a $24 million a year annual savings up to $119 million annual savings. We used the middle approach. My wife and I talk about this all the time. We never buy the top of the line. We never buy the bottom of the line. We always go in the middle. So using the middle approach, there was about a $61 million savings for North Carolina employers that utilized those programs. And so the whole focus about that is looking at safety and health program, getting leadership and management involvement, making sure employees are involved in the program, which is a very important component, and all centered around finding and fixing and abating hazards before they possibly contribute to an injury and illness. A lot of times people don't look at all the costs when an injury happens. They may look at the direct cost of somebody's hurt and they have to get treatment, but they don't look at the indirect costs, like you need to now hire a new employee, you need to train that employee, you're going to have workers' compensation costs if the person has to go through rehabilitation.
Right.
And all those costs add up. And we also have on the federal website an application called Safety Pays. And you can just put in an injury and it will calculate the cost of that injury to a business, and it'll tell you, for instance, if you're a manufacturing business, how much more you have to sell in order to make up for that injury. And sometimes people, I think, are amazed at how much just one injury will cost them.
Absolutely.
So when you look at it from that perspective, it not only makes sense from a standpoint that you don't want anybody injured or have health issues, but also the bottom line is it's important for the company to remain successful. And that's part of this, the sound part of safe and sound. A safe business is usually a sound business.
Exactly.
And so
financially
that's where,
sound and make a profit.
That's
what
right.
they want to do.
Exactly.
So for any employer listening to us today, if they say they cannot afford to maybe invest in a piece of equipment or invest in their safety, we say you can't afford not to.
That's correct. And there's a lot of also free services. And North Carolina is very lucky in that we have a lot of resources within the state. We have NC State that has training courses available. The Department of Labor has training available. We have webinars. We have many different types of brochures, quick cards, you name it. We do it. There's an ergonomic resource center here that's available that people can try out equipment to see what's right. And so cost should not be an issue. Usually there's a very economical way to abate a hazard, and the cost savings are are usually exponential.
That's awesome. If anybody would like to contact the department for more information on how ways that we can help them.
So we have a 1-800 number that you can call. It's 1-800-NC-LABOR, which is 1-800-625-2267. And that is our call center, and they can ask any kind of question, and that person can direct them to wherever they need to go. And then our website, of course, is labor.nc.gov, and also our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are on all 3 of those.
And you posted today, you changed our banner.
Yes, so our website banner is now the Safe and Sound logo with a link to our news release that we just sent out, so you can learn a lot of information about the Safe and Sound week that's coming up in just a few days.
So who all can participate in Safe and Sound?
Any employer, association, group can participate in it. It's all inclusive, and we just want to make sure that anybody that has employees is making sure that they have safe and healthful workplaces. So any businesses or associations or groups that are interested in participating can go onto that federal OSHA website and go onto the Safe and Sound campaign portion of that website and go ahead and register and do whatever they want to do.
Right.
NCDOL is offering webinars next week for the Safe and Sound. What webinars are we offering?
Well, we do have some coming up. We kick off on the 12th with a webinar entitled Recommended Practices for Safety and Health Programs, which is the key core element of this whole campaign. So anybody interested in starting up a new program or tweaking their existing program, that would probably be a real good webinar to sign up for. And you just go on our website and you can register on our website for that webinar. There is no charge, and it's an interactive webinar, so there's opportunities to ask questions during the session. On the 13th, we have one for powered industrial trucks. Now, that wouldn't be for everybody, only if you either had a powered industrial truck or were looking into getting one, or maybe you just have a fondness for powered industrial trucks. On the 14th, we have excavation and trenching. That is a national emphasis program. It is a North Carolina emphasis program. Unfortunately, we still have people injured and fatally injured in North Carolina in trenching and excavation, so we'd like to get as much information out there as possible on that. And then on the 15th, we have heat stress webinar, which I think is very topical.
Yes.
Because when I was walking over here, I was thinking, boy, it's hot outside here. And I just had to walk from one building to another. Can you imagine working out there in the heat, or working in a facility where heat is an issue? So we think it's very important that people understand issues associated with working in this climate in North Carolina, which is different than other areas. It's not only hot, but it's very humid, and it's very important to keep hydrated and make sure that people are used to the work, and the worker provides the necessary breaks and shade and everything else. My son works out in the state park system. I know that he comes home and he is just exhausted. And they do a good job of providing all these things, but they know, I mean, you have to take care of your employees.
Hollis Yelverton joined us for our last podcast, and she addressed a lot of the signs and symptoms of heat stress. So if anybody listening hasn't had a chance to tune in to that one.
Episode 17
Was
with
it?
Hollis.
Very good.
Yes.
And as a supplement to that, there is a lot of information available on our website.
Yes.
Having to do with heat stress, people that want to develop a program. We also have a great lending library. I know that you've talked about that in the past on some of your podcasts, but we have services. We have web stream services where people can live stream different topics. There's too many to mention here.
Right.
So you name it, it's probably on there, and if it's not, we can probably get it. And we also have the lending library where we have videos and discs and publications as well. And so if you have a safety and health topic, chances are we have some information we can provide.
That's right. And Nick Vincelli, our librarian, would love to help you if you're listening today.
And he loves visitors.
He loves visitors. Anybody can visit the library.
That's right. It's in the old Revenue Building on Hillsborough Street. If you're interested to see what the library has, or you want to talk to Nick, come on down, and he'll be glad to meet with you. Sometimes he gets lonely up there.
Well, before we wrap up today, Kevin, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just would like to go over, a lot of times people will ask me when I'm going around, I go throughout the state, and they talk about safety and health programs, and they want to know, well, I believe in safety, and I think we should have a safe workplace, but what's in it for me? What's in it for my company? What are the benefits? And there's a lot of benefits from having an effective safety and health program. Probably the primary benefit is employers that have effective safety and health programs and they include their employees, that sends a message to the employees that they're important to them. And that's probably the strongest message you can send to an employee, because they're more committed to your company. They understand that you're looking out for them, so they're going to look out for you. And both from an economic standpoint and a productivity standpoint and a morale standpoint, it's so hard to get good help, find good help, and keep good help, that you want to keep them happy and healthy and safe and sound.
There you go.
So see how it all ties in together?
That just tied in beautifully.
It also gives you a better recognition of the compliance rules and regulations. Back in the early days when I got into safety, I didn't know how many things I didn't know about safety and health. I mean, I always considered myself a safe person, but when I got into it, I had no idea all the different requirements out there. And it's not complicated, but at the same time, if you don't know, and you don't know the questions to ask, then you don't know what you're not doing. So it's very important to have a effective and active safety and health program. Nobody knows the jobs better than the employees. The employees can tell you how they're doing the jobs, what makes them unsafe or what makes them feel unsafe. And a lot of employers learn ideas such as machine guarding and other things just by talking to their employees and understanding. And a safer workplace makes employees more likely to want to be in that workplace to work during the day. The other thing that is important is the management commitment. I think OSHA, if you go on their website, they look at, you need to have management leadership, you need to have worker participation, and then you have to have some method of actively going out into the workplace, assessing it, seeing if there's any hazards, and if there are, correcting them before they may lead to an injury, illness, or a fatality. And I think if you put it in that simple format, those are the best reasons to have a safety and health program.
Well, that's a great way to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. Remember, your safety is our priority.